and welcome to the 2018 New Jersey Neighborhood Achievement Awards, sponsored and brought to you by the Greater Newark List Office. My name is Craig Drinkard, and I have the privilege and honor to serve as the board chair of the local advisory board. And it's truly an honor. Thank you. Thank you. There must be a relative of mine out there clapping. So we're going to get started. This award program is really power-packed tonight. We have some extraordinary awardees. We have some outstanding presenters of the award. And so, without further ado, we're going to get started. I would like to say a couple of things about some of the award recipients for tonight. Our first award tonight will be given to the Lifetime Achievement Award, would be given on behalf of our dear friend, my dear friend, I can say that honestly, my dear friend, Monsignor Linder of New Community, the founder and leader of New Community, who passed away peacefully a few months ago. So he will be receiving an award. Also, we will be giving the Private Partner Award to Marilyn Davis of Altice USA. So we're very happy that she's here and the organization is here represented tonight. Miss Aisha Glover will be receiving the Neighborhood Impact Award. And if you're in this room and don't know who Aisha Glover is, we're going to call security and have you removed, because Aisha is truly a champion of this city, second to none. Also tonight, Mr. Mark Burson will be receiving the Private Partner and Transformation Project Award. And not only is Mr. Burson transforming Newark skyline, he's a well-known philanthropist and activist and just involved in the community. And last, but certainly not least, our Lieutenant Governor, who's been kicking down doors and making a name for herself for decades, serving people in this state and in this city and this county. Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver will be receiving the award as well. So again, it's my pleasure to serve tonight as your master of ceremony. But without further ado, I'd like to bring forth our executive director, Miss Rhonda Lewis. Everyone give her a round of applause, please.
Good evening, everyone. I want to apologize for my voice in advance. I have a little bit of a sore throat, so I'm going to keep my remarks brief. But I want to say that I am honored and grateful to be here tonight to celebrate you, along with 5 exceptional people who have advanced and shared our goal of building strong and vibrant communities of opportunities. From housing and economic development to civic engagement and jobs, I salute Monsignor Linder, Marilyn, Aisha, Mark, and Sheila for being fierce catalysts in New Jersey's community development arena. Without exceptional leadership like them, much of our work would not be possible. Our mission is simple. LIST forges resilient and inclusive communities of opportunity across America. Great places to live, work, visit, do business, and most importantly, raise families. To that end, Greater Newark List has invested over $100 million and leveraged another $7 million in the region. We have contributed to the construction of over 2,400 affordable homes and over 555,000 square feet of community and commercial spaces. But we like that our success is not only measured by the dollars and units that we build, but over the years, if you followed us, you would hear an equally impressive story of fruitful collaboration, reinforced community capacity, financial empowerment, and bold residential leadership. But let us be clear that this success is not only LIST's success, but it is our success. So give yourself a round of applause. When you've been doing the work for as long as I have, one thing becomes evident about community development. No single factor drives the opportunity gap. No single fix will bring it. No single program, no single developer, and no single foundation or CDC. Our continued success relies on our ability to work together to connect people to safe and affordable housing, quality education, job training, financial coaching, and environments free from harm. These sobering facts underscore the importance of nights like tonight, because we all know this work is really hard, and we all have to be courageous to do it. So it's important, like, Craig said, move over to the bar, people talking. If I was in the audience too, I'd be still chatting, because it's nights like tonight where we break bread, share laughs, and honor our colleagues that are important. So I urge you all to take an extra moment to congratulate tonight's honorees, introduce yourself to someone new, or thank allies for their dedication and courage. Though we still have a lot of work ahead of us, if we stay connected and continue to work together across sectors, our shared vision of removing obstacles and catalyzing opportunities for all will one day become a reality. So I thank you all for being a catalyst of opportunities every day. So thank you again.
Met a gentleman walking around the property one night by the name of then Father Linder, and he was telling us young teenage boys about the journey New Community had been on to develop that part of the Central Ward that was neglected for during the riots and thereafter. And while their vision was starting to come to fruition, it was important for us to make sure we became stewards of keeping that mission and that work alive. And for some reason, those words and meeting our senior and then also Mr. Joe Cheneyfield, those relationships just kind of grew over the years, and I had a chance to come back in my current capacity as a program officer when I first came back to the Victoria Foundation to work with New Community and build and as Victoria provided grants. And my relationship with my senior took on from someone I just kind of knew in passing to a grantee and grantor relationship to more of a friendship. So for me to be in the position to ask Mr. Rich Roman to come up, give him a round of applause, everyone. Come on up and receive this award on behalf of a true champion for this city of Newark, Monsignor Linder. We look at the many housing units. I think it's over 18 or 2,000 housing units built by New Communities, senior buildings, the townhomes, the workforce programs. But the thing that has always stayed with me is how New Community has been able to touch the lives of those who have been really some of the most low-income families in the city of Newark. Mine was one of them. So I want to, again, personally thank New Community for what it did for me and my family, and for the thousands of families you have touched through your workforce program, through your senior program, through your senior housing. And so this award is just a small token that this field of community development could ever pay back to Monsignor and New Community for being the trailblazers that you all have been for this field, not just here in Newark, but across the country, and I dare say across the globe, because you may or may not know, many representatives from nations from around the world have come to study the New Community model to take it back so they could implement some of the things there. So Rich, on behalf of the New Community family and from our family, thank you again.
Craig, you are family, man. You are family. Man, what's family? Oh,
You get to say whatever you want, up to a few minutes. I will get the hook.
Rhonda has me scheduled, I think, for 3 minutes, and she will get the hook if I don't. I just want to say that NEF and LISC have been partners with New Community going all the way back to the 80s. NEF invested in one of our first tax credit properties back in the mid 80s, and so I would meet with Judith. I have these periodic meetings where LISC they would want to come in and take a look at the project and go over the financials, and they would Judith would tell me exactly how NEF and LISC wanted us to do things, and then I would have to tell her exactly how Monsignor wanted to do things, and they were never on the same page, but we persisted, and we still have it. The development is still there. There's still people living in it, and we persisted in that. Then LISC did a very unusual thing for us. And Rhonda was really, Rhonda and Richard, who's here at someplace, really pushed this. They did what turned out to be really a working capital bridge loan to bridge us to a resyndication of 327 units. And through that very unusual loan, it got us past that resyndication, and we've gone on and we're working now on the construction portion of a resyndication of about 1,100 units of project-based Section 8, very low-income housing that will be preserved now for another 25 years. They were key to making that happen. They also, we came back and they also funded us to do a little bit of consulting work to help strengthen our property management department. We're currently operating a financial opportunity center, which is a LISC idea aimed at wealth building in low-income communities. So we're still working together. So on behalf of the board of directors and the staff and myself at New Community, we're really honored that you've chosen to recognize Monsignor in this way. Thank you so much.
You want to show it to the crowd?
Yep.
Yeah. Put you in the middle. Oh. Yeah. You got it? It's heavy. Yep.
All right. Here we go.
Again, thank you, Richard, and New Community for all that you do for so many of the residents in the city of Newark. At this time, I would like to ask, he has the title of Senator. We all know him as Senator Ron Rice of the 28th Legislative District here in New Jersey. But he has another title as well. He's a true champion, heavyweight champion for the city on many levels. So we're going to ask our dear friend, Senator Ron Rice, to come to the stage, please. Good to see you, sir.
Good evening. It's very good to be here with Lisa and all the awardees, and I'm so happy to be here to just kind of introduce to some and present to others this very lovely young lady who I've known for many, many years, and I watch her grow. But you know, I believe that she should be given her just due because of the work she's done in her own right throughout the state and, to be quite frank, throughout the country. And so it's my honor to join you tonight, Liz and others, particularly with the Lieutenant Governor, Sheila Oliver, and all the other awardees who are receiving. I know every last one of them. I've worked with every last one of them over the years. And I just think that you did the right thing in recognizing people who've been dedicated to helping people. And so after spending 8 years working in politics for the federal government and President Barack Obama's administration, my good friend Marilyn, with her lovely self, she returned to New Jersey, and we was glad to see her come back as the Senior Director for Government Affairs at Altice USA. In her role as the State Director for Government Affairs, Mrs. Davis oversees strategic policy and government affairs for federal, state, and local officials. She also is responsible for establishing community partnerships to expand access to the broadband disenfranchised communities, which is very important because we've had that conversation when I was on the city council many years ago, and we first brought in the first cable network under Barry Washington. And that became Cablevision, believe it or not, and Barry's an African American I grew up with, and Cablevision became Altice. So we want to know it started right here in the city of Newark. And we know in 2006 she joined the Quezon administration as the Deputy Commissioner for the State Department of Labor, where she once again outreached to unemployed and undeployed workers to connect them to much needed government services while ensuring that both the state and local governments were responsible to the needs of those seeking work during the worst recession of our lives. It was really bad times back then. Mrs. Davis' commitment to the underserved and marginalized continued during her tenure at the Federal Department of Labor, where she served as an Obama appointee as well. In this new chapter of her working life, for one of the top companies now, Altice has become one of the top companies in the telecommunication business in this country. Ms. Davis continued to seek opportunities to align with community-based organizations and to provide access to the myriad of services and programs Altice USA offers to connect the disconnected and disenfranchised to the world through broadband access. By doing so, her part is really closing that whole divide that we've been talking about out there. I mean, years ago, I would have people come to me talking about the digital divide, and no one knew what those terms meant. And then eventually it caught on in the African American community. And so Mrs. Davis has developed those connections with LIST partners, and that has resulted, and I want to thank LIST as well, and those institutions receiving free internet so that school-age kids can now start to perform and do their homework or play games to avoid the trappings of the streets, and so that the underemployed adults can seek and find work to provide for their families. And so her life has really been one of connecting people and connecting not only people with government, but people with organizations, and then communities with communities. And so as a result of that, I want to just applaud you over and over for the work you've done. You know, we love you and our network throughout the state, as well as through our network throughout the country. And we hope that you be at Altice a long time, but you stay connected because you've been connecting everybody else. But stay close to LIST, because I know when LIST started. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. You want to say some words? Would you like to say some words?
Good evening.
Good evening.
It is an honor to stand before you tonight. And I want to say, Senator Rice, thank you so much for the kind words. And the reason why I asked Senator Rice to introduce me is because of a conversation he and I had when I worked for Governor Corzine. For those of you who don't know Senator Rice, and that's probably no one in this room, he can be a very intimidating figure, right? Yes, he can. So when I was in the Assembly and he was in the Senate, he was very intimidating because he was a very forceful figure, and especially defending the positions that he took in the legislature. So when I had to go before him as Deputy Commissioner of Labor, he said to the Commissioner and I, people don't steal cars on their way to work. People don't steal cars on their way to work. During one of the worst recessions this country in my life that I've seen, right, he said those words to us, and they've been with me from that day in 2007 or 2008 until this very day. So whenever I took another job, I remembered those words, but not necessarily about the jobs front, even when I didn't work in workforce development, but to this day in corporate. So as I'm charged with connecting corporate with government affairs and handling a lot of the regulatory issues that we face as a corporation, I also keep in mind that there are people who are disconnected from telecommunications and disconnected from broadband services and disconnected through the digital divide who need those services in order to access jobs. Just last week, I was at the Boys and Girls Club of Hackensack. Now, I work for Bob Torricelli, and I said, there are no poor people in Hackensack. What are we doing in Hackensack? But there are. So the Boys and Girls Club of Hackensack is right dead smack in the middle of a housing authority. And that is where Altice decided that we would give the Boys and Girls Club free broadband access so those little babies could have an opportunity to do their homework, so their parents could have an opportunity to look for work. And so it is with that in mind every day, Senator Rice, when I go to work, I think about the kids not only at the Boys and Girls Club in Hackensack, but right here in Newark, as well as when I talked to, I know I saw her here earlier, Vivian Frazier, but the STEM program that the Essex County Urban League runs here in Newark, making sure that those young children also have a place in the summertime to go to learn about STEM education. Speaking of Father Linder, who I met when I worked for Senator Corzine, New Community Corporation is also a recipient of the opportunities that we have at Altice USA for those young people who live in the residential areas with New Community to also have access to broadband. So I share that with you because Senator Rice, that intimidating figure, like that uncle who you're scared to go see because you know he's gonna fuss at you. The words that he said to me in 2007 remain with me in 2018 and will remain with me for the rest of my life, that wherever I go, I will continue to fight for those who are underserved, those who are disconnected, and those who need the services that, no matter where I go, will provide. LISC, I can't say enough about LISC, about the leadership of Rhonda Lewis, her great staff, and Roy Sutherland, and certainly Candace Johnson. And I look forward to joining your board and working under, because you know nobody works with Diane Johnson, you work for Diane Johnson. But I also want to commend my other honorees, Aisha Glover, she's a rock star. She's gonna crush it at Newark Alliance. To Mark Benson, congratulations to you as well. And to the Lieutenant Governor, she continues to shatter glass wherever she goes. I thank you all, and thank you to my family and friends who are here tonight. Thank you.
Senator Rice, you've been summoned. Another round of applause. This work is important. So we want to thank all of you. And I would just like to take a moment before I bring up the next presenter to give up the next award. I really want to thank all the CDCs and their partners in this room for that work that you do that oftentimes is not recognized, but is definitely needed in this city. And you've been doing it for decades. And I just want to take this time to give you a round of applause for the work that you do on behalf of so many in the city of Newark. Speaking of those who do so much for so many, not just because it's their job, it's because this is what they truly believe in their heart. I'd like to bring forth our mayor, Mayor Ras J. Baraka, as he's going to present an award to one of my favorite people in the city, Miss Aisha Glover. Mr. Mayor, take your time, sir. We're here. We won't tell that to her. Sir, good to see you again.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I just want to thank LISC, first of all, for making this happen and all the work that you do for us in the city of Newark. We deeply appreciate it. And I want to thank all the other honorees as well. There's this long program with this bio in it about Aisha Glover, but I didn't read that. Okay. So I'm going to throw that away, do my own thing, right?
Do your thing, Mr. Mayor.
Right. I'm taking mayoral privilege here. But, I mean, because, you know, ultimately it said all of the things that we were supposed to say about Aisha and Glover and the great things that she's done and where she's come from. She has been a godsend to the city of Newark. Many of the things that we get credit for, that I get credit for in terms of exciting business opportunity in the city, attracting businesses to Newark, leading the Amazon charge, making sure small businesses are taken care of, developing programs for African American and minority women in this city, strengthening opportunities to strengthen small businesses, whether you're talking about lectures or workshops to make sure businesses are bonded, that they're able to compete in a growing economy, opportunities to create equity across the city, innovative ideas around paper co-ops and all kinds of things that are happening in the city are being led by Aisha Glover here in the city of Newark. Her wealth of knowledge, her experience, her passion for the work that she does, and her sensitivities around our constituency here in the city of Newark, black and brown people mostly who are working and struggling in this city, and understanding that we have to bring wealth to our community to create this kind of wealth and begin to watch it materialize in the neighborhoods in the city. She's been doing an awesome and outstanding job. It's unfortunate that that she's transitioning to another place to do something else, but she's always going to be with us, and our strategy to move Newark forward is in her heart, is in her practice, in her experience, and most of the things that you see downtown Newark and all of the activity that's happening, she has a direct hand, a direct mind, and input in altogether. So it was my pleasure to come up here and say all of that. I don't get an opportunity to talk about Ms. Glover. She always has to talk about me at all of the ribbon cuttings and everything else. So I get an opportunity tonight to reciprocate, to let you know that Newark scored a huge touchdown when you came on to be the director of NCEDC. So God bless you and keep up the great work.
I might actually be lost for words. Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Thank you, Rhonda, Liz, your entire team. It's just really been an honor to be here. Somebody asked me recently if I've really only been here 3 years. Yes, I have. I've been in this role for 2. And I am not leaving, Mr. Mayor. I told you I am not leaving. The Newark Alliance is really going to be an extension and really allow us to kind of further the economic development and the impact that we want to have in the city in terms of engaging corporations and anchors. So I see it as an extension of the mayor's agenda, Mr. Mayor. But really an opportunity to make sure that we're engaging corporations and anchors, and we're doing it collectively, ultimately for neighborhood impact. So I'm so honored to be receiving this particular award because we do what we do for the people. This is for no other reason. Economic development has to be community-based. I frequently say that's why it's Newark Community Economic Development Corporation. All over the country there are EDCs and CDCs. We are purposefully a CEDC. And I'm so honored and privileged that we are at a point now, both the city and the CEDC, that we can confidently recruit my replacement, who will work in partnership with the mayor and with the Alliance to really further the impact that we have in the city. So thank you again. This is truly an honor, and I'm looking forward to continuing our work together.
Touch your muscles here. This is really heavy. How appropriate for you. It's all right. We got to get it down because we know how you act. You nail it. 1, 2, and 3. 2 more. Good. And last one. Good. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Aisha and the mayor. This is really a dynamic duo that we have in the city with the mayor's leadership and Aisha, what she's done at NCECD and what we all look forward to with her and her team are going to accomplish and continue to do at Newark Alliance. So Aisha, thank you for all you do for the city of Newark. Our next award will be given by Mr. John Schreiber, the President and CEO of NJPAC. And Mr. Schreiber, as he makes his way to the stage, I want to personally thank you, Mr. Schreiber, for your role. And so these are not my words, these are not from this words, these are from me. And I would say the role you played in the transformation of this institution from an inward-facing institution to a more community outward-facing institution. And we want to thank you for your leadership in doing that. And making a space like this available for events like this, but all type of other events that happen in this space. The Dodge Poetry Festival, other nonprofits who host things here, and other small groups who host things here. We want to thank you and your team for opening this place up and really making it a part of Newark's community. So come on up. Good to see you, sir. So true.
Thank you. Thank you, Rhonda, and thank you, Craig, and welcome everybody to the Art Center on a Thursday night. That's a good thing to be, right? Yeah. I want to tell you a little bit about what I know about my friend Mark Burson. Mark Burson is a few years older than me, but just a few. But I consider him a mentor, and it's a funny thing. As one progresses through life, you meet people along the way, and they become mentors. You never know when you're going to find them, right? So I've been in Newark for, hi, congratulations. Yay. You know, when Aisha says that she is transitioning to the Alliance, but she's still working with the mayor and working with the city, that is so absolutely true. It's an indivisible association. So I think we're all thrilled that you are taking this new job, but taking the city with you to this new job. So congratulations. Anyway, so we find mentors as we travel through life, and I found a mentor in Mark Burson. He's a visionary, a creative, and tremendously successful developer, particularly here in his hometown. And you can stand almost anywhere on the north end of Newark's downtown. You look around, and you will see evidence of Mark's business acumen and his special ability to spot the potential in buildings, in neighborhoods, and cities that other people just can't see. The company he founded, Fidelco Realty Group, bought, renovated, and leased out One Washington Park, 17 floors, 400,000 square feet in the middle of what was essentially a bit of a desert. And suddenly, North Broad Street was a district people saw as hot and up and coming. Audible and Rutgers Newark's business school are housed there now. Across the street, he brought 494 Broad back to life with offices. He's building a new headquarters for Audible in a church on Washington Street across from Washington Park. And he's renovating Washington Park as well, leading that renovation. It's a cliche now to say that Newark is having a moment, but Newark is having a moment because Mark had years of what was envisioning what's possible, and years of planning to make it happen. And he's not just a far-sighted businessman, he's a dedicated philanthropist. More than 22 years ago, he co-founded Opportunity Project, a nonprofit that offers rehabilitation and empowerment to people with brain injuries. He's still chairman of their board. For 16 years, he's been chairman of the board of Newark Beth Israel Medical Center and the Children's Hospital of New Jersey, and he's now also the vice chair of RWJ Barnabas Health, our state's largest healthcare system. To me, it's important that he's a founding member of the NJPAC board. He joined us in 1989. 1989, that's a long time ago. That was years before we had a stage or a center for arts education or even a parking lot. A lot of people who make change in the world sometimes keep their volume level at 11. And I don't begrudge them that. If you're a business success or somebody who's improving the lives of others, being noisy about it can increase visibility and effectiveness. I have no doubt that Mark Burson does something that improves the lives of somebody every day. And I've never seen his volume level any higher than 3. That's just who he is. He's a guy who, with his wisdom, creativity, checkbook, and ability to collaborate, changes the world, but doesn't want, need, or expect a standing ovation every time he moves the needle for good. And after all these years, he really should have a bigger ego. Mark helps me advance the work of the Arts Center in unique and important ways. I'll give you an example. He made the Arts Center's wonderful new residential tower right across the street, and believe me, rentals are still available. I moved in. I love it there, and I recommend that you move in too. Anyway, he made One Theater Square come true. We've been working on One Theater Square, and a lot of people in the room tonight, Senator Rice, among others, Lieutenant Governor, a lot of people in the room who were present at the creation of this idea of One Theater Square. It took about 10 years. I got here almost 8 years ago, and I inherited the role of president of the real estate subsidiary. I don't know anything about real estate, I promise you. I rented an apartment, I bought a house once, that's about it. But I was the president of the real estate subsidiary, so my job was to get One Theater Square to the finish line. And at a certain point, no, I didn't do it. This is the punchline. At a certain point, Mark Burson looked at me and he said, "I think I can help you." Okay? I said, "Really?" I said, "Okay." And from the moment Mark Burson said, "I think I can help you," it was essentially a year to a groundbreaking and a year and a half to what you see across the street. So thank you, Mark Burson, for making One Theater Square come true. The Arts Center and the city of Newark couldn't have a better friend. Please join me in thanking our friend, Mark Burson. He also sat through 4 hours of NJPAC board meetings today, so he's like, this is a guy who's a hero, all right.
John, thank you.
Speak up.
Thank you. It's very nice words, and I appreciate you taking the time. I really do. First thing I want to do is congratulate a lot of very worthy people. It's I feel very honored to be alongside of all of you. You know, I met Monsignor Linder in the 1970s, understanding and learning what it is to help others and what a legacy he has left. Marilyn and I, we haven't met, but I spent several years building and putting together space for Cablevision, which is now Altice at 494 Broad Street. We love having you, and we love the fact that so many people, local people, are employed, and it's just fantastic. Aisha, what can I say? You know, you work for government. That's where you were. And when this whole thing started with Amazon, kind of said to myself, well, we in the private sector better get a grip on this thing if we're going to be successful. Well, I ate my words. You led a charge with the mayor that was second to none, and the results to be seen. But congratulations really to the mayor for helping to bring you aboard, for the mayor for what he did and for what you've done. Newark has become recognized on a national scale at a level we haven't seen, at least during my lifetime. And Lieutenant Governor, you've been in a leadership role for a long time around this part of Essex County and the state, and we look forward to so many things that will be done in the future. You know, I'm not sure what transformative project means per se, but at one level, I guess that's what I've been doing since I got started again in Newark with conceiving the Arts Center. For that I have, and will always be indebted to Ray Chambers for asking me to get on board, and here I am still going forward, working hard and trying to learn. One day I'll be ready to graduate. It's really been a privilege to be in this position. As Ray would say, the real rewards in life are the pleasure in helping someone else. Real estate projects to me I love doing puzzles and these existing buildings and parcels and the things we've been involved in, they're like puzzles. We're trying to create something new, whether it's an old structure or a new structure, we're trying to create. And it's been, starting with the Art Center, public purpose, it's been great. And as John said, 4 hours more today, and I never tire of it. From the Art Center, Ray's next venture, we went over to build an arena. And here we are, we have an arena. Figuring, well, you know what, it's not for profit is wonderful, but maybe I ought to try doing something for profit. It wouldn't hurt. So we thought we'd try that next, and I marched up, since everyone was so busy around the arena, the thought arena was coming, I marched up to the north end of town and bought one Washington Park, because no one wanted to be up here. There was a gentleman who was both chairman of Mutual Benefit Life and First National State Bank years ago, and they were up on the north end, and he wanted to see development. He's the one who actually got one Washington Park built, but it just didn't go anywhere. The area, if anything, kind of deteriorated. Luck is a good thing, and having a business school and having Audible come to town with 100 employees needing to be in 60 days, who would have known? We're next 2 years we should exceed 1,400 people. That's really changed, and to add to the Audible scenario, we'll I think in the next month, let's say by Christmas time or within a month thereafter, we will deliver the old Presbyterian Church at 15 James Street, which will house another 350, 400 people for Audible. Quite a change, quite a transformation to a building that was falling apart. I would not recommend generally that you try and redo a building of that age and complexity, but we were up for the challenge, and I think we're all going to be very proud of the result. And thank God for LISC, because without some help, I'm not sure how you take a building in that condition, that age, and turn it into something that's viable on a contemporary basis, and this one is. We also didn't finish directly in the private sector. We did a project with 8 buildings over on Market Street that run from Dinosaur Barbecue up through Fast Signs, and got some activity going over on that part of town. 494, as we talked about. I guess the question is, I think those are transformative, but I've had the blessing of being in other areas too, not only with, do I consider Rutgers really a partner and helped me get a start, because without the education I got there, I don't know where the next step would have been. But I joined some, I think it's 18, 19 years ago, the Newark Beth Israel Board, and I've been at it for 17 years as its chairman. And what a gift to be able to assist people and to be another economic engine in the city of Newark. And those few around know that we're planning to spend in excess of $100 million on Lyons Avenue to upgrade that facility and really spur development again in the South Ward of Newark. When I think about and what's going on and what's so fascinating, it's giving back to communities and working in the community. You can't succeed in a hospital today, for example, by fixing a broken arm, getting paid for it, and that's what you do. You got to stop people from getting to the hospital or you're going to go broke. And the way you do it is go out in the community, and maybe in odd ways. In Newark Beth Israel, you'll find a greenhouse. That greenhouse is an education vehicle. It's teaching people nutrition, it's teaching them how to grow, it's teaching so many different things. Really incredible things. Not normal not historically the hospital norm, but it is the way of the future. We participate in the program of hiring Newark and have committed for 350 employees over a short period of time and well on our way. These are the kind of things that we've been doing. These are the kind of things that make me very proud, and why retirement is something that people around me seem to be doing, and I can't understand what drives them. I get too much to do to even think of words like that. But to make those things happen, it takes other people too. It's not all about me. And my team, some of which are here today, Matt Kaplan, Dan Blackburn, Jeff Hirsch, my daughter Carrie, and Bill Fonte, when it comes to what's going on in Newark in our development, they're the ones on the firing line, and I thank you all for what you do. We've been involved with so many of you are out there, and you know what? Each one of you, in your own way, have done something to help, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of it. The mayor, who I've gotten to know, it's incredible what growth we've had. People like our state senator, who we became friends sitting on a board down at Symphony Hall, and don't forget about what it is to do things, some of which don't get paid for and almost thankless. But boy, it leaves a mark, and thanks for being here and helping out tonight. It's what makes the day go. And once again, thanks, Lisk, for the award, and thank you so much for all that you do in helping these projects move forward. Look forward to the next one.
All right. This is quite heavy. Yeah. You want to take a photo if you don't mind? I feel like one of the buildings.
Okay.
Step this way. All right, John, be careful. You better sue yourself.
Sure. All right, guys, 3 photos. 1, 2, and 3. Good. 2 more. Good. And last one. Terrific.
Thank you.
Everyone, another round of applause for Mr. Burson. And John, again, thank you so much for all that this institution does for the city of Newark as well. Our last awardee is a woman that in this room and other rooms in this state needs no introduction. It's for Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver. Yes, woo! We put our hands together. As we know, Ms. Oliver, Lieutenant Governor Oliver, is extremely busy fighting on many fronts. She's covering a complete state, doing so many different things. And though she had planned to be here this evening, her schedule, as we can only imagine, is quite packed, and things emerge. So she's asked her dear friend and colleague, Senator Ron Rice, to accept the award on her behalf. And I believe was someone else joining him, or he was by himself? Was Brittany Timberlake joining him? Oh, I don't think. Okay. So you come on up, but we're going to have Richard Manson, who's Senior Vice President of the List National Office, to come up and say a few words also on behalf of Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver. Richard?
You have been sitting a long time, so this will be short. But on behalf of the Home Office, I want to congratulate everybody for their wonderful work. And if you could indulge with me, I would like the Newark List staff to come up front too for this last presentation, because as all of you know, they're the people who get it all done. So come on up. Candace, are you here? Roy? You know, and some of you know I've been at LISC almost from year one, so I was recruited out of high school. But a question that is asked everywhere is, what is LISC? And we have many different answers, but if you just take a look around this room, this is the best definition of what LISC is. We're the connective tissue of a lot of good things that work so much better when they're aligned. So to our private sector partners, to our government partners, to our implementing nonprofits, philanthropy and corporate leadership. The power that we could do so much more aligned is so evident here, and the story of Newark is a perfect example. So it is my pleasure of being that national partner, and we're looking to double down our investments. So Mark, you got a lot of money out of our right pocket. We have a left pocket. And to new communities, much more to the Newark Alliance. There are a lot of things that we would like to be seeing. And on the health side, many of you may be aware that only yesterday our President Maurice Jones was with Rhonda with the hospital to see how we could leverage those investments for more to come. So with that as background, it is my pleasure on behalf of all of us to recognize the Lieutenant Governor for her public service commitments to Newark and to the state of New Jersey. Starting from her early years right here in Newark at the Office of Youth Services to her current selection as the first woman of color as Lieutenant Governor, we all recognize what a leader she is for New Jersey, and I would even offer for the nation as a whole. And it is my pleasure tonight to have Ron Rice, on her behalf, accept the award, and I'm sure you'll whisper nice things to her about what she missed. She's in our hearts, and we look forward to helping her go forward. So thank you all tonight.
Let me just say, on behalf of Lieutenant Governor Oliver, we love her to death. I spent many years working with her. I sit on her board at the Leaguers. As quiet as kept, the League is an organization working with young people that's grown over the years. But she ran that organization, and Veronica Ray, who's there now, really worked for Sheila. And Sheila's life has been Newark, the Leaguers Incorporated. Her life has been education on the Board of Education in East Orange, working for the county and in government at all levels. So she has what it takes. But she's a firm believer that if you're going to grow cities and you're going to grow communities, you're going to grow the state, that you're only going to do it if you do it with community-based organizations and nonprofits, partnering with corporate America. And that's what we have tried to do in this city and in this state. And so I accept this on her behalf. I know she wished she could be here, but you couldn't ask for a finer person to present this to for all the work that she's done tirelessly throughout the years, just even being Sheila. And she's a very educated and a very wise, common sense person. And I'm going to say this to a lot of people, they may not know this, is that she is the Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs. And all of you have to eventually say hello to that department. I know that because I sit on the Community Affairs Committee. I used to chair it. But I also know this, that you don't know. When she became a Lieutenant Governor, the governor did not give her the Department of Community Affairs. She asked for it. When we were going through transition, and I was telling, Brendan, I said, we have to really get people in place for the governor now. He said, well, we can't get people in place till we find out what Speaker Oliver wants, Lieutenant Governor Oliver. And so contrary to what people think, because people just say, why would she want that? She understood if you're going to build communities, that's the place to be. There's a lot of power in that office. It's people power.
Good evening. We're so proud to be here tonight with all of the honorees. I am Brittany Timberlake, the Assemblywoman for the 34th Legislative District. Give it up for LISC and all that they do, because they're showing how to partner and how we should naturally be working together with our corporations and with our nonprofits to solve issues. And as the great Senator Ron Rice just mentioned regarding that transition time, and the governor was meeting with everyone, I had an ask of him. It wasn't for a job, it wasn't for, a donation or an appearance at an event. It was that he would keep someone close to him who comes from nothing, who knows how to solve socioeconomic issues of people who have nothing. And when I'm talking about nothing, I'm talking about money, right? We all come from something. And who's not afraid to go back to nothing. And I think that he did that, and that was the greatest thing, is that Sheila Oliver is the DCA commissioner, because she understands the community and she understands what it takes to get things done, as do all the honorees. Congratulations to Rhonda. Give it up for Rhonda. She's doing such an amazing job. Thank you.
Go take a picture? No, we can't go too far left. We're all going to fall over.
Come a little closer.
I don't know, John.
Now, he falls over. Now we got to
Right. Yeah, that's a list also.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Good. 2 more. And last one. You put that down. Okay.
Again, another round of applause for the Senator Ron Rice accepting the award on behalf of Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver. Before I let you all get back to some drinking and eating and dancing and listening to some music, we're going to ask Darlene Robinson from the list board to come up and thank our sponsors. And then I just have one more announcement after that. But you come up first, Darlene.
Good evening, everyone. I have the dubious task of thanking the sponsors when you've been sitting for a long time and you want to see if you can get another cocktail before the open bar closes. So, but I do want to give justice to our sponsors, because truly we don't want to take them for granted. There is an investment to make sure that we have a great evening tonight and continue the great work that Greater Newark LISC is doing. So on behalf of the local advisory board and the members of the LISC Greater Newark, I'm extending our heartfelt thanks to all the sponsors that provided resources to make this evening wonderful. While you have a lengthy list on the back of your program, consider this sort of like a 30-second Super Bowl commercial we'd like to hear the names of those corporations and partners and nonprofits echo in this wonderful space here in Newark. So first acknowledging the premium sponsor, Fidelco Group, Platinum, RWJ Barnabas, our gold sponsors, TD Bank, M&T, and New York Giants. Our silver sponsors, Prudential, JP Morgan Chase, Rutgers University Newark, Makerhood, Altice USA, PSE&G, and BNY Mellon. Our corporate and nonprofit sponsors, PNC Bank, New Jersey Community Capital, Wells Fargo, Latier Construction Corporation, Bank of America, Brunswick Group, NeighborWorks, M&M Development, Urban League of Essex County, Housing Community Development Network of New Jersey, Garden State Episcopal Community Development Corporation, North Jersey Federal Credit Union, Ironbound Community Corporation, NJHMFA, New Jersey Institute of Social Justice, New Community Corporation, Newark Community Economic Development Corporation, Essex Community Land Trust, Michael Racklin and Company, La Casa de Don Pedro, MCJ Amelia Foundation, United Way of Essex and West Hudson, Joseph C. Cornwall Center, NJEDA, Leadership Newark, Gibbons PC Law. Let's give a big round of applause for all these sponsors and thank them for a wonderful event tonight. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. And I just have one final announcement. I want to thank you all for coming out, so give yourselves a round of applause once again, and give another round of applause for our outstanding awardees this year. As the chair of the board, it's very easy to just sit back and you watch all the great things happen. We have some outstanding leadership in terms of Rhonda. We have a great staff, and so I do want to recognize that team, but I want to recognize one person in particular. And I think for those that are connected with LIST, know things do not get done at the LIST office without Candace Johnson. Candace, come back this way. Come on back. You know, whenever I need to schedule something with Rhonda or get anything done, Rhonda will always tell me, you better check with Candace first. Whenever we're planning anything, the first thing we say, we better check with Candace first. So Candace, on behalf of the board and the staff and all of us who are, oh yeah, for you. We want to thank you for pulling this together, but this not just for tonight, for all the things you do to make the LIST office work and go. Thank you. Can I give you a hug? Yes. Thank you. I've dealt with Candace over the years. You know, if you want a task done, you give it to Candace.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Rhonda, you have any closing remarks?
Please enjoy the rest of the evening, have some more cocktails, food, but thank you all for coming.
All right.